So they really just they can give you they're like a voice, a technical voice that is there kind of like as the technical support to grow the network to kind of say like, okay, hey, we really this we need this upgrade because it's got a bug fix, a hot fix, or it's going to improve the network in such a way, or this is some technical architectural advice, right? So they're there for a little bit of helping the governance community in that type of way. And they do have these open dev fellowship calls. So this is where you can see the fellowship, the members. They show up. There's Gav right there, and they discuss things out in the open, which is really really beautiful to see. So these discussions are happening about how to move Polkadot forward, right? How to steward Polkadot forward, and the future of Polkadot, and a lot of it is like super connected with like the PRs that are happening here and Polkadot SDK. So that's there as well. It's an off-chain component, this, right? The video. You can tune in. It's really cool stuff. But at the end of the day, the collective is on chain, right? So that's part of OpenGov. So let's see here. What else? And the runtime itself, like the Polkadot runtime, it's owned by the fellowship. It's not owned by Parity, it's owned by this fellowship organization that we saw, the on-chain collective. And for example, if you click on Relay Chain, you can see it. There's the Polkadot runtime right there. So this is the Polkadot runtime. This is the code, the actual Rust code that at the end of the day, we got to compile it down to WASM, right? And upload it to the chain. And this is Polkadot's runtime logic. Pretty cool stuff, right? So that's there. It just shows like how beautiful all this open development is. And technically, like in terms of OpenGov, right? All the modules that um, exist to kind of make it happen, these are Rust modules. So if I go back here to the relay chain, Polkadot relay chain, and we look at the governance tab, right? These are just UIs for Rust modules. Like Treasury, that's actually a Treasury Rust module. It's a palette, what we call in Substrate a palette. Like I could show you, like if we go to open source repo, Substrate, so Polkadot SDK, Substrate, and we go to where all the Rust modules, the palettes live, frame. And if we scroll down to T for Treasury, where is the Treasury? There it is, Treasury. So Treasury palette. Okay, cool. And you can actually read up on this. It's really super well documented, and you can see things like you can see if I do a search for spend, right? Actually, there's probably let's see. Yeah, so like you could see there's like a pretty cool trait called spend funds where it actually does the spending of the funds and super well documented. So that's all there. The code is all open source, really beautiful, right? And thanks to this UI and the other UI, we can see it in a more friendly kind of way. So the other thing that I want to show you technically is that there was there's this PR here, governance v2. So OpenGov is governance v2. And prior to OpenGov, there was Governance V1, which was really, really good, actually. Governance V1 was really good. Governance V2 is super good. Like, I think and it's iterating, it's evolving. There's all the time, there's like some improvements, right? Like on chain, like PRs and stuff. Uh, it's super sophisticated. Governance is something that is really hard to ta like find an amazing solution because like there's really really hard problems to solve. For example, like how do you get the community to vote, right? Like usually like a typical like problem for governance in general, whether it's like blockchain governance or any governance, is getting people to vote, right? It's usually a small audience, like even if you think of your own country's governance, right? So these are things that uh, can be improved on, though. Like there can be different ways to tackle that and different initiatives, and that's the beauty of Substrate. The beauty of Polkadot is that we can just perform a runtime upgrade and try something out. Like, okay, let's iterate on the governance system. Let's improve it. And right now, it's super sophisticated. Like I would even say, like I love. It's kind of far fetched, but I think that the American government could use OpenGov. I really do think so. I think that it can be built in such a way that it's already more efficient than it's on chain. The decision making is on chain, right? And it can be improved, iterated. So uh, I haven't seen anything more advanced to tell you the truth. But anyways, governance v1 was just like more like simple democracy, and it works. It's really well. Some chains in production are using governance v1. And what we see here is the PR for governance v2, which is pretty cool because you can actually see the code, the work that was involved. Like if I click on files changed, we can actually see this was when they implemented it in Kusama. Kusama's the test network of Polkadot, but with real economic value, right? It's also called the Canary network for Polkadot. So let's see here. So you can see these are the different changes, the code changes. If I scroll down to, let's see, um, librs, so this is the actual Kusama runtime. And I want to actually see, for example, down here, to be able to see the palettes. Yeah, so these are the palettes for governance v2 that were added. Looks like there's a palette conviction voting, palette referenda, palette rank collective. That's where we saw the ranking, where we saw Gav had a 7. Palette referenda for fellowship referenda, and so on, right? Different palettes. So this is all there. It's really nice to read if you're like a developer to see how one would configure the governance v2. Um, because at the end of the day, this is open source. Polkadot is a multi-chain, right? Like world. Like you can build parachains, you can build these blockchains on top, connect them with the Polkadot relay chain, and you can also use these Rust modules in your own blockchain, in your own parachain. You can have governance v1 or governance v2, and these PRs are really nice from a technical perspective to see how one would go about configuring it. So this is governance v2. I'll show you, for example, there's a blockchain called Interlay. Interlay is doing some really novel stuff with Bitcoin, but on Polkadot, and it's producing blocks. And guess what? It has a governance system. It has governance v1, and it works. There it is, democracy, right? So it's pretty cool. It's a very basic. You can see, you can submit a proposal. If I click submit a proposal, I have to submit a pre-image, and then one can vote on it. The community can vote on it. Uh, and so like it's up to you how, from a substrate perspective, how you would want to configure governance for your chain, if you want a treasury in your in part of your governance and such, right? So here is, if we scroll up here, here is the PR, the commit. Actually, this is actually the commit for adding governance to Interlay. And this is really cool from a technical perspective because you can go here and you can say, okay, let me look at how they did it. So you can see if I scroll down, let's see to the palettes. What does governance v1 consist of? And there it is. There's governance v1, right? It consists of palette democracy, palette. So it's got a lot of the voting mechanism, palette collective, right? We kind of saw a little bit of that where you can create an on-chain collective. And it's got two palette collectives. One is for a general counsel, so two instances, one general counsel and the other one for a technical committee. And then palette membership and palette treasury. So they have a treasury. Usually when you have governance, you want to have a treasury and some another palette here. So that's pretty cool. Like if you're, if you like technical stuff and you want to experiment, like building your own parachain, that's there as well for you. So that's governance in a nutshell. I hope that it's like, that was super high level, right? I hope that that was enough to like kind of get you interested and kind of show you what Polkadot governance is about and hopefully get you more involved, whether you want to be involved in like, creating a treasury proposal or voting or even like going into the code. That's up to you. And if you want to look more, there are some Polkadot wikis that described Polkadot governance in detail. Let me show you that really quick. So how the actual voting works, the mechanism and everything there is. So yeah, there you go, introduction to Polkadot OpenGov, right? And it drills down into the different origins. It goes a lot deeper into how the actual origins tracks and voting works. So that's there if you want to check it out. It's a pretty good read. It's very detailed, right? So thank you all.